Hello, my name is Olie. I'm here from Flitz today to show you all the different Flitz applications in the gun, the fishing, and we call it a sporting goods division of our company. Flitz is originally born in Germany, and the company is almost 50 years old. It comes in a paste form like this is what we're most famous for. This happens to be a commercial can. It does come in different sizes, of course. But one thing you'll see on here, it says metal, plastic, fiberglass, polish. In other words, this is not just meant for one type of metal. You can use it on all types of metals, and you can use it on plexiglass, acrylics, and different things too, as well as even paint restoration. So if you have something faded, especially an old antique piece you're trying to restore, you can feel free to do that. I'm going to start with one of the first things is on gun barrels. One of our first trade shows our company ever did is called the SHOT Show. The SHOT Show is held in Las Vegas, Nevada now. It used to travel all over the country, but it's one of the biggest, it's the second biggest trade show for the gun industry in the world. The first is called Olie in Germany, which we also exhibit in as well. This is a piece of gun bluing here. This is what we call factory hot bluing. So I can take a little Flitz, put it directly on top of the blued finish like this. And I want to show you, it doesn't take much product. I'm going to take a Kleenex, and the reason I'm using this white Kleenex, you can see the debris that the Flitz polish will pull off that bluing, which we call a surface rust like this. Now, as we know, bluing is a controlled form of rust. But the idea with the Flitz polish is you can take off the surface rust very quickly, easily on a firearm. And when you're done, the most impressive thing is this. When moisture hits it, it rolls right off. So you can use it on a pistol, a shotgun, if you're going target shooting and it's raining or anything like that, or even like deer hunting and different things. We've taken our firearms, we put them next to the fireplace, let them dry. The ones that have been Flitz before, next morning are nice and clean. The other ones are actually starting to rust. So putting this on a blued firearm does make a great difference. If you like to use it on a patch and run it in a bore, you can use it in the same way as a bore cleaner. You put the product directly in the patch itself and then simply run the patch directly right in the bore itself. And this is something you can use as a cleaner, a polish, and actually even for, I call it following. In fact, the Olympic shooting team of the United States uses Flitz polish on their firearms. And one of the reasons why when they clean the firearms, the product itself is like a rouge. People always ask me, how abrasive is Flitz? Well, Flitz is actually a 4,000 grit polish. So especially when using a stainless steel or a nickel weapon, you can actually take the product and bring it back to a brilliant finish. On firearms like this, when you're putting this on, using it with a Kleenex, you'll see the black oxide of the stainless steel that it pulls off. When you use it in the slides, you can use this to take off the debris itself. Some people actually use it with a Q-tip. But the item, this is a very old frame of a gun called a Kunin, which is out of Minnesota, which actually come back recently again. But you can see a mirror finish you get out of it. Some of the people use this just as to bring a firearm out to a mirror finish, but some in law enforcement, they don't even want it that way because it's a little too shiny. But you'll see when moisture gets on here, the best part is it gives you the same wax type coating. So Flitz does give it a protective coating between 2 and 3 months. Heat does not bother it, so when you're firing the gun, it's not a problem of the heat breaking down the protective coating as well. Now, this is just a flat piece of stainless steel, and I wanted to make it a little point here. You can use this by hand or you can use it with a buffer, but what I want to show you is Flitz is used in a lot of different areas in the firearms. If you want to use it on a piece that's for display, I'm just using, again, a Kleenex with it. You can use a pressure microfiber if you wish, but no matter what you use, it's a cream product. It's easily to apply like this, and you see all the black residue again, and it brings it out to a finish. So when you use it on powder residue, especially on a cowboy cylinder, when you have the powder residue from a firearm, this will take that right off for you. It's one of the things we're known for, and I've been really proud to say, and it's actually a personal high, when you go on YouTube, you'll see tons of video from customers that have bought our product and just put it on video because they're so high on the product. And as a company manufacturer, it's a real high for us when people do that. We're very blessed. If you do go on YouTube or like to put something on, you can please contact us as a company. We'd love to compliment you in the same way. And here you can see, again, how the product gives it a protective coating compared to over here where it tends to stick. So in a flat piece like this, you can actually see it much better. In the knife industry, one of the biggest trade shows we do every year is called the Blade Show in Atlanta, Georgia. The Blade Show, of course, is every knife from a Spyderco to a buck knife to a high-end hunting knife to Gerber to Boker, things like this. Again, we've been blessed by many companies. You'll see a lot of companies actually recommend Flitz right on their own website to maintain either a stainless steel, carbon steel, or even something like brass. This is actually an old buck knife. And some of you, I'm sure, we all remember buck for many, many years. The brass bolster was one of the things that made buck very famous. And one thing, when Flitz started out almost 50 years ago, Buck is the company that put a little sample of Flitz in every buck knife sold. That actually helped put Flitz on a map in a knife industry. You can see, with very little effort, how that brass bolster comes right back. It's safe on, if it's a bone or a ceramic stone or even like turquoise or anything, you can use it around different types of areas. If you're using a blade like this, just be careful, of course, when cutting yourself. I tend to put it down sometimes so I don't get the sharp edge next to the table. And again, I'm just using a Kleenex like this. But the neat thing is, when you're doing this, if it's a carbon steel, again, a stainless steel blade, or even a ceramic blade nowadays with the different colors and things that they have, the cool thing is, when moisture gets on here, it rolls right off. So, good thing is, you stab somebody, blood comes right off. No evidence. And on a serious note, though, it's great for protection, and that's what you're really looking for. So when you do use this product on stainless or chrome or brass, it's phenomenal in all your firearms. Now I'm going to take it to fishing, because this is an old fishing reel here. It's very antique brass. You won't see this so much anymore. But people use this to restore this. We sell this to companies that actually restore bells and different clubs and different things like that. But you can see very quickly how you can bring something back that's an antique finish like that if you choose to use it on brass and copper in the same exact way. The pen reels, especially your saltwater reels, because in saltwater, for those of us that fish in saltwater, you know everything gets corroded. If it's stainless steel, chrome, brass, whatever you happen to have. These are lures here I'm just going to do for fun. Not that everybody polishes their lures, but you can take an old spinner blade like a MEP. You can take aluminum like this on a jigger, and also on a, I call a jitterbug, using the exact same thing, and bring that right back out. Many years ago, for those of you who've been fishing for a while, you remember the Johnson spoon. The true Johnson spoon was silver plated with regular silver. And the reason why, when that silver is polished, it gives a different luster, different glisten in the water than a chrome look. And that's why a true Johnson spoon always was one of the top lures. And you can see like this aluminum, how much brighter it is than that little jitterbug that way. It doesn't take a lot of effort, but it's something you can do. You know, we're all hobbyists, and this is something of our love, but it doesn't take a lot of effort. Go through your tackle box once or twice a year, and I take a little microfiber like this, so the microfibers don't tear up as much as paper, and it does a good job. By the way, the microfibers that we offer are different. This one I'm having in my hand right now actually comes in a roll of 30 like this. You can purchase these for under $1 a piece. They're washable up to 200 times, and they're really super thick. They're 300 grams, or called GSM thickness. So if you choose to use this around your fishing items, your firearms, or anything, they're soft, they're easy, and they're washable. And if you do fall down and they fall in the dirt and you can pick up all the debris, it's not that bad where you can actually just get another one right away, because on a roll like that. As your brass MEP's the same exact principle. The spinner blade here is the last one I'll quick do. But when I'm doing this on my lures, a lot of times I'm just watching television, putting a little bit on, using this as a buffing action. You can see all the black residue pulls off. And again, how brilliant the spinner blade will come out in the exact same way. And hopefully good fishing for you the same way too. Now, many times people always ask us, how do you make something last longer? Well, the Flitz polish, as I was showing you, will last 2 to 3 months on average. Well, we do make now a gun and rifle wax, which is beeswax and carnauba. And we also make a ceramic sealant for those who aren't familiar with ceramic, if you buy a new car nowadays, one of the first thing the dealerships wants to sell you is a ceramic coating on the paint. It's like putting glass on your paint. Well, ceramic is very, very easy, and it's man-made, so it doesn't break down through different things. But I'll show you the difference. The gun wax we've had in our line for almost probably 20, 30 years. It's like a lotion. It comes out like this here. It's nice and creamy. Super soft. And when you put this on your firearms, simply apply it with your hands. And same thing for cutlery and knives. And wipe it off with a microfiber. Now once you put this on a firearm, especially when you store the gun, it's going to give you unbelievable protection, but even better than Flitz. The water just beads up phenomenally. Now, I recommend the gun wax for most areas when a gun is used for storage. The problem is, when you fire that gun, the heat from firing it will immediately break down the wax. All waxes, including ours, all melt at 140 degrees. So unfortunately, the gun and rifle wax, once you use the firearm, does break down. And that's one reason why now we've come up with the gun ceramic sealant. The gun ceramic sealant is something that's, again, man-made. I'm going to do the other side over here with that. You spray it on almost like water. And after you spray it, you simply take a soft microfiber and buff it off. Now, the only negative to the ceramic coating is it takes 2 hours to cure. In other words, what I'm trying to say is it's dry right now to the touch. You can feel it, it's super slick. But 2 hours from now is when it gets super hard. But when you use a ceramic coating like this, you get over a year on the firearm. It's phenomenal. So this little bottle here is around not quite 2 ounces. This will actually cover at least 20 to 25 rifles. And you can use it on wood, you could use it on your scopes, on the glass, whatever you choose. Because ceramic is actually a sealant for all finishes. Paint, fiberglass, acrylics, metals, whatever you choose to use. Now last and final, I want to go through our tumbler media additive. A lot of people ask about brass and copper. Well, a tumbler media additive is used for either corn cob or crushed walnut shell. This happens to be crushed walnut that we use right over here. And basically what you do, of course, you shake the product, and it takes about 1 ounce of product per pound of media that you have. It's a greenish paste like that, so simply pour it inside your tumbler or your vibrator, switch it around a little bit, then let it run. If it normally takes you 7 to 8 hours to clean your brass, with this, you're going to clean your brass under that in half. In other words, 3 to 4 hours. The tumbler media additive will really speed up the time of polishing, but more importantly, it's going to make your job easier. It's ammonia free, so it doesn't deaden the primer and build up that way in the cracks. And I'm going to put a little bit on this brass here. Normally I take little brass shells, but I didn't have any here right now, so I'm just going to use a brass and a knife. And you can see how fast it brings that brass up to a brilliant finish. And that's why when you do your brass gun shells, it does not only a better job bringing it out to a finish, it keeps it clean. And because, again, there's no ammonia in it, it won't harm the brass in the exact same manner. So feel free to use this as a tumbler media additive. This comes also in 16-ounce bottles. But when you use this in your tumbler, you can actually rejuvenate it with a smaller amount. In other words, rather than taking an ounce per pound, probably take ½ ounce per pound. Because even though the media gets dirty, it actually keeps on working. It's just like when I was showing you before on demonstration like this. I can take that same dirty area that's in that cloth, I can keep rubbing it on the brass, and I can still bring it out to a nice finish. And what I'm trying to say is the polish actually impregnates itself into the cloth, just like the polish impregnates itself into the corn cob or crushed walnut. Now, as I was saying earlier, you might want to go on YouTube to see all the videos. We go on flitz.com. We also have a chat room. The cool thing about Flitz, we have a new policy. We actually put our phone on all our literature and things. Feel free to call us. We actually answer our phone, and we speak English. So we're glad to talk to you at that time. Thanks very much. Have a great day.